Hey friends, Kaitlyn here, and let's talk about all of this sexual harassment. So there are stories coming out of the woodwork of people sexually harassing, sexually assaulting people. These are people in power, like in Hollywood and politicians. But there's also the Me Too hashtag, which is bringing to light all of these stories of everyday life sexual harassment and sexual assault. This is not surprising to me at all. I mean, I've worked in the film industry and I have experienced the kind of power play and overstepping of bounds that we're talking about here. So I wrote this whole script set of notes of how to not sexually harass people. And we were going to talk about why it's wrong and how it happens and how you cannot do it. But then I realized that's really not doing any good. There are lots of things out there that are already like that. Really, the thing that I could talk about from my own experience that would maybe have the most impact is how pervasive it is to sexually harass people without realizing you are. And that's really freaking hard to talk about for me because it's a story that is very real in my life and that I have kind of buried over time because it's easier to live that way than to have to think about it. So my story is that there was a man that was in my church who kind of adopted me as like a granddaughter when I was in college. He was a friend of my dad, a friend of my grandparents, just like someone that I had known my whole life. He basically started sending me care packages when I was in college and like cards to encourage me. So I don't think there was anything wrong with that at all. It was really how the relationship that I had with him changed over time or developed with time. Essentially what happened is when I would come home from school, he started asking me to like come with him to things, just like a music event, or one time he asked me to come to dinner with him and I felt like, yeah, this is something, as someone who's like sending me these nice things, I felt like, yeah, sure, that I can do that. And he was a nice person. I enjoyed spending time with him. I felt like I was sort of doing a good deed by spending time with this like widower. But over time, it started to make me feel really uncomfortable. I didn't feel like, you know, it wasn't just like, oh, I went to this one like music event with them because to say like thank you. It became like every time I came home, he wanted to see me and to take me somewhere. And I felt kind of like I was going on dates with him. And I'm like, seems weird and I don't feel quite comfortable with this. It was at this point that I brought it up to my parents and they were like, oh no, this is fine. He's just lonely. It's totally fine to spend time with him. And if you don't want to go to something, then just say no. I'm sure he'll understand. It was a little bit like, I wish maybe they would take this a little more seriously because I feel more uncomfortable than they're like seeming to think that I should feel. But I did take their advice and I just started saying no to doing things, but he was still like sending me things in the mail while I was at school. And it got to the point where he sent me a box of perfume for Christmas, and he sent me this letter with it that went into the very explicit ways of how to wear the perfume, like how you put it in between like your thighs, and that's when I started having panic attacks because I'm like, this is really, really, really wrong. And my mother, I think at this point agreed that it was very weird. So it was really at this point that it just got really out of control for me. I had a super hard time like going to church if he was gonna be there because feeling like he was gonna want me to hug him or want some sort of physical contact. That was also something, is that he would always want hugs and to hold my hand in public places. And I'm just like, it was all these things that I very much associated with being in a relationship with someone, except at 22, being in a relationship with an 80-year-old man, I didn't think that that was something that was right. All of these things were happening to me and I just felt like I couldn't say anything because of who he was and how like illogical all of it seemed. Like it just didn't seem like it could be happening. Okay, this is a very hard thing to talk about because there's this fear of talking about it, that people are not gonna believe me, and that's really, really hard to do. I haven't told very many people. There have been a couple of friends that I have somehow along the way, we talked about something and I kind of told them the story, but I tend to tell it in almost a flippant way of like, yeah, there was this like older man who decided that he thought he was dating me when he wasn't, and it made me really uncomfortable, and that's the way I kind of like phrase it, which is not at all really what went down. It was much more serious and like scarring for me. So the conclusion of the story is really that I finally was able to get my dad to believe me, which was kind of the turning point. When I have my dad on my side, things are gonna happen. He went and talked to this man, and then we also talked to my pastor, and then I think my pastor and my dad sat down with the man as well and basically told him that like whether or not what he thought he was doing was wrong or okay, that I just like needed him to not be around me or contact me anymore. And he did, he respected that. He didn't contact me anymore. And it's been like 5, almost 6 years since that happened. I don't know what this man is doing now or if he still thinks about this, but I do, unfortunately. I still wonder if I was overreacting, and I know that I was not. I know that the things that he did were not right at all. And it should be noted here that I have been light on recounting to you like everything that happened. So I have not told you everything. I've only told you the things that I feel comfortable sharing, but the one that I feel like is important is the perfume one, because that was just so disturbing to me. But the point of telling you this story is that I am like 90% positive that this man didn't think he was doing anything wrong. Oh gosh, it's so ingrained in me and so many other women, and not just women, I mean men too. I think especially like Southern culture, to be like meek and to be respectful of your elders. You just don't say that something is making you uncomfortable. Instead, you just try to get away from the situation and hope that it never happens again. So it's kind of two parts here. In the one, how hard it is as someone who has been a victim of sexual harassment or sexual assault to actually stand up and say something, because you're so afraid that you're just crazy. You're misinterpreting something, and how much worse it would be for you if, you know, you're misinterpreting, or even if you're not, but like this person has a power over you in some way and what they could do to you. So it's easier, not really easier. It's just like, you don't know what to do other than to just be silent. But also for you to think about how you're interacting with people, especially people that you have some sort of perceived power over, whether it's like an employee. I mean, you just have to really think about the things that you're saying or the things that you were doing. Like, it's probably safer to just not touch people, and that's okay. So maybe just like check yourself before you wreck yourself. It's almost like we've created this, where's the threshold? Where does it go over the line that you need to tell someone and tell someone to stop, when really you shouldn't have to experience it in the first place. If maybe people just thought a little bit before they said things or did things. It feels so complicated to talk about, even though it shouldn't be complicated at all. It should just be like, don't sexually harass people, don't sexually assault people. Who knew that could be such a hard thing, or something that people would be arguing over? Okay, I'm done talking about this. Hopefully I covered all the things I wanted to cover and have said something that is of use to you in your life. So thank you for listening to me, hanging out with me, and hearing my story. This is definitely not a video that was intended to make you smile, unfortunately. I'm sorry. Been a little bit of a downer these last few videos. Plus, remember to check me out on these other social media sites. Instagram is my favorite, of course. I have been posting lots of selfies recently. I've been like doing some photo editing and putting galaxies on stuff, so it's been interesting and fun. You should come hang out with me there. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Thursday. Bye.